Hi everyone, today I'm going to be talking about my favorite romances in books. So it's going to be romance books, so those romances, but also romances in other genres like paranormal romance or fantasy or more fiction books. So we're just going to be talking about romance today for Valentine's Day and all that stuff. I do not have a Valentine, so this is my way of coping, so let us get into it. So like I said, we have multiple genres to talk about here, so I'm kind of going in categories. So let's just start with romance itself. So first and foremost, I'm going to be talking about cutie YA romances. Oh, by the way, all these books are going to be recommendations because they are all books that I enjoyed or recommend. The first book I'm going to talk about is actually the first book I ever read in English, I'm pretty sure. At least for my own enjoyment, not for school. And it is 5 Feet Apart by Rachel Lippincott. Anyway, I think maybe the movie is more well-known than the book, but I really love this book. I mean, it is the first one I've read and it's been a while, but I really did enjoy it. And it's such a sweet and different romance because they have to be 5 feet apart because they both have an illness within their lungs, and so if they get close to each other they might actually like literally die. That doesn't sound very flimsy fun YA, but yes, it is a very heartfelt story, but I think the romance in it is so cute and so wholesome, and I really enjoy it and I highly recommend this. Do check trigger warnings because it does take a lot. It does take place like in the hospital mostly. But if you've seen the movie and you want to read the book, or maybe you want to watch the movie instead, I also watched the movie. I liked it, so yes. First recommendation of this video. The second book I'm going to talk about is also YA, and it is a little more popular. It is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I love this book. This is such a cute romance, so sweet, so wholesome. This follows Wes and Liz, and it's like neighbor romance. They kind of like hate each other, but in this one you also start with every chapter. It starts with like a quote from a famous romance movie. So like this is, well, yeah. So like here we have, can I show you this? This is from Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, but there's also one from When Harry Met Sally, 500 Days of Summer. Like it starts with a quote from a movie, which I think is such a cute concept, and I really enjoyed that. But also their romance is so cute, so sweet, and it's kind of like they dislike each other, but then they kind of start liking each other, and it turns into a romance, and it's so sweet, so wholesome. They apparently also have a second book where they break up and get back together. I am pretending that doesn't exist. This is this whole thing because I saw no one like that. So this is its own thing to me, and I will not be reading the second book. Yeah, this one is so cute. The word I would use to describe this book is cute, and the romance is just adorable, wholesome, innocent, like very like a bit careful, but it's so sweet. And this book also has the famous quote, maybe you've seen it, from She Isn't You. Wes Bennett is a great book boyfriend, guys, and I love them. I love this book, so yes, highly recommend. The last YA book I'm going to talk about today is Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. This is a graphic novel series. I have the rest of the series here as well, and this is also a show on Netflix, which I also love. This is just so sweet, so innocent, so wholesome. It's so careful, but like the thing I love most about Nick, but by the way, we follow Nick and Charlie. They go to an all-boys school. Charlie is openly gay. They kind of slowly start figuring out, they kind of become friends, and then slowly start turning into more. And it's a coming of age story. It is talking about Nick realizing that he might have feelings for Charlie, and so he might be bi. And it's just so sweet, so wholesome. And I think my favorite thing about their romance is that they really try to talk to each other and like make it known that the other person can tell them things and that that's okay, and it's okay to be confused and it's okay to be sad. And I love that they just really try to make each other comfortable, and I think that's the most beautiful thing about this series and their romance. So yes, this is a graphic novel. You will fly through this, like I said. It slowly starts getting into different topics through each book or the seasons of the show, and it does talk about serious topics as well, which I really appreciate, and I think it's important, especially in like a YA story. But I also highly recommend the show. It is, I have to say this, it is awkward, it is cringe, but it's supposed to be. Like it's a high school romance. They're young, they're learning, they're getting to know themselves and each other, and it is awkward, it's cringe, but it's supposed to be. So if you think you can enjoy it still despite all that, I would highly recommend Heartstopper or the YA books. Now let's get into new adult/adult romances. First one I have here is part of a series, and it's actually the last one in the series, but they are interconnected standalones. I did read the whole series, but you don't technically have to. This is just my favorite from the series, which is why I'm recommending this one, and it's Redeemed by Lauren Asher. This is book 4 in the Dirty Air series. And they're all such quick reads, so if you do want to read them all, you could totally do that. But this one is definitely my favorite in the series. You follow Chloe and Santiago, this is a Formula 1 romance series, by the way. And Santiago was a Formula 1 racer until he got into an accident, and now he has a prosthetic leg. So it's also disability rep, which I really enjoyed, and my favorite thing about their romance is that really try to communicate, and if they can't communicate, or if they can't talk yet, they're like, it's okay, take your time, and you'll tell me when you're ready. And I so adored that about their romance. It was so refreshing to read about, but they also meet in a very funny way, and then they slowly become friends, and then it turns into a romance, and I just really enjoyed it. I think their banter was amazing, and I just really enjoyed them. I liked both the characters individually, and then so together, like they both first individually had character growth, and then when they came together they grew as a couple, which I just really enjoyed, and I think that's really important in a relationship, in a story. So yes, I really love this book, and I would highly recommend. This is adult and this is spicy, so be aware of that. It has multiple spicy scenes, I'm pretty sure. Yes, so yes, highly recommend this, but it is the 4th in the series, so keep that in mind. Second adult romance recommendation I have is The Bodyguard by Catherine Center, and this is a standalone, which is amazing. We love to see it. In this we follow Anna and Jack, and this is, like the title suggests, a bodyguard romance, except she is the bodyguard, not him. He's like a celebrity. I don't know what he does. Yes, he's a famous actor. So Jack is a famous actor, and he has to go home to Texas, yes, to the ranch, to help his mom out because she gets sick. But he has a stalker, and he does not want his family to know. Hannah is his bodyguard. Since he doesn't want his family to find out that he is a stalker, she's pretending to be his girlfriend. So you have bodyguard romance reversed. You have fake dating. It's such a fun romance. I loved their romance. Their banter was amazing. And yeah, I thought it was really fun that she was the bodyguard in this one. Like, it's so refreshing. I really enjoyed it, and like there's by the premise, you know, there's going to be a lot of complications in this relationship, but seeing them go through that and fix it, and yeah, I really enjoyed that. So I would highly recommend this one. Again, this one does also have a few spicy scenes. I don't remember it being as spicy though, so I think there's only a few in this one. But yes, highly recommend. Full series that I'm going to be recommending to you, so I'm going to be talking about them together. And it is the Dreamland Billionaire series by Lauren Asher. So I talked about Lauren Asher before with Redeemed, but this is a trilogy by her. And these men are all billionaires, and they're brothers, and they each get a book. So in the first one you follow Roman and Zara. This is kind of like Disneyland romance, like basically Rowan owns Disneyland, but fictional. And Zara goes to work for him. And then terms and conditions, we follow Declan and Iris. Yes, and this is arranged marriage. Declan has to get married in order to receive his inheritance. And so it's arranged marriage with Iris, his assistant. And then we have Final Offer, in which we follow Cal and Alana. Yes, and this is second chance romance. And she also takes care of her sister's daughter. So there's also a kid involved in this. These are all spicy. Keep that in mind. But I really enjoyed these. The third one I think is my favorite, then the second one, then the first one. But I think these are all very fun. I think I like that all of these books talk about a little bit more of a serious topic as well as the romance. And these characters really have individual character growth, which then also leads to growth in the relationship. And I really enjoyed that, especially in the last one. It does talk about serious and heavy topics like addiction. So do keep in mind your trigger warnings. But I really love this series. I highly recommend it. Every single one, but especially the last two. But yes, these are spicy, so keep that in mind. But yes, I really, really like these, and I like the banter, and I just really like these romances. Then next I have Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McWhiston, which I absolutely adore. There is, of course, also a movie for this, and I think there's also coming a second movie. I don't know if there's a second book, but I read this, and I love this. In this, you follow Alex, which is the first son of the President of the United States, and then you follow Henry, and Henry is the heir to the British throne. Am I saying that correctly? Yes. Don't like each other, but then they slowly kind of start turning into friends, but it gets complicated because they're such big figures for each of the nation, of course, and well, being them both being boys, that's something that's kind of more complicated. They have to be friends in front of the press, but secretly they kind of dislike each other. But then they slowly start actually turning into friends, and it starts turning into something more, which, like I said, is going to be complicated because they're such big figures for both of their countries. And yeah, really enjoyed this book. I also like the movie, although I haven't seen it in a long time. But yes, I really enjoyed this. There is also some spicy scenes in this, not a lot though, if I remember correctly. But yes, I really enjoyed this, and I would highly recommend. I have another one that is turning into a movie, which is The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood, and the casting for this, y'all, it is amazing. So that's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. But yes, I love this book when I first read it. I think this was Ali Hazelwood's first book, right? And I think from her romance books, it's still my favorite romance, possibly. From the ones that I've read, I haven't read a few. But yes, I really love this book. The romance is so adorable. It starts off with, you follow Adam and Olive. And it starts off with Olive wanting to prove to her friend that she's over her ex, and she walks up to the first person and kisses them, which happens to be Adam, a professor at her college. Not her professor, but a professor. Then you follow their story from there. It's Grumpy Sunshine. He's the Grump, she's the Sunshine. And their story is so amazing. I think if there's one thing Ali Hazelwood can do, it is banter, and she delivered with this book. And I loved it. This is also spicy. There's a lot of spicy scenes. But yes, I love this book. I love their romance. He's also Dutch, which is fun because I am. But yes, I really love this romance. I'm so excited for the movie to come out. The casting, like I said, is so amazing. But yes, I honestly recommend Ali Hazelwood as a romance author in general. But as for the romance specifically, I chose this one as my favorite. There is going to be another book by Ali Hazelwood though, but it is in another category. But yes, highly recommend this. The last books in the adult romance category are in the same series as well. And it is Twisted Games and Twisted Lies by Anna Huang. These two are my favorite in the series. They're book 2 and 4. I really, really love these both of these romances. So in this one we follow Reese and Bridget, and this is bodyguard romance as well, but he is the bodyguard and she's a princess. She's a princess, so it's like very forbidden. They're not supposed to be together. It's also Grumpy Sunshine. He's the Grump, she's the Sunshine. They're just not supposed to be together, but they slowly start forming a friendship, which turns into something more. But it's complicated again because it's so forbidden. But I really love this story and their romance. This man would do anything for her, and I love that. And she's also fierce and a badass, and I love that. I love to see it. And then in this one we follow Christian and Stella, and Christian is like, I think he's a CEO. Is he? Whatever. He's like this very dangerous person, very closed off, like he never laughs, he's super grumpy, he's just like, he doesn't like people. Right? But then he gets obsessed with Stella. Yeah. And Stella is a blogger / model, but she is just feeling quite insecure. So you deal with that. And also Christian, as he just thinks that he's not good enough for her or whatever, or he thinks he's too bad for her. They both start really wanting each other, and it turns into so much more. But yes, slow burn. This is a long book because they're like, no, we can't do this, and then they do it. I'm like, no, we shouldn't do that. Yes, they're both like very romantically unavailable, but then they meet each other and they start having feelings for each other, and they're like, shit, kind of have to change my mind now, do I? He also, like Reese, he would do anything for her. Anything. Both of these books, highly recommend, but these are very, very, very spicy, so keep that in mind if you want to read them. Now we're going to go into the next category, which is going to be paranormal romance. First two I'm going to talk about are in the same series. The third one is also out, but I don't have it yet, so I haven't read it yet. But this is My Roommate is a Vampire and My Vampire Plus One by Jenna Levine. So these are both paranormal in the sense that both of these guys, yes, both of the guys are vampires. Other than that, there's really not much fantastical anything going on. It is really a romance, but there just happen to be vampires in it. And Frederick is like really old, and he is kind of still getting to know like the human world and the modern day world, and he needs a roommate, and Cassie desperately needs a house, so she applies to be his roommate. So that is this one. And then in this one we have Amelia and Reginald. Is dating because Amelia wants to get her family off her back of her still not dating, so she fake dates Reginald. I keep forgetting his name. So she dates Reginald to get her family off her back. So that is this one. And these are both so fun, so silly, goofy romances. So funny. I highly recommend these. I believe there is some spice in them, but not a lot. So just so you know that. But yes, these are so funny, so hilarious. If you want a romance with a teeny tiny bit of paranormal on it, then I would highly recommend these. But if you are like scared of fantasy, of paranormal, of anything besides contemporary, I think these are very easy entry point. They're such easy reads, and like I said, the only thing that's different is that there's vampires in them. And then the next and also last paranormal romance I'm going to be recommending today is Bride by Ellie Hazelwood. This is the other Ellie Hazelwood I was going to talk about. And this is also a paranormal romance, obviously. And this is a vampire werewolf romance. So we follow Lo and Misery. Misery is a vampire and Lo is a werewolf. And she is the daughter of like the leader of the vampires. Or, well, they're not technically called vampires. The vampires. I'm just going to call them vampires. And then Lo is the alpha of the Northwest Pack. Southwest Pack. Mate is Northwest, which is the second book in this. I also recommend that one, Werewolf Romance. But this one is my favorite, so this is the one I'm talking about today. This is arranged marriage because, like I said, they're both like kind of important people from their occult. And to form a peace treaty, they have to get married, so it's remarriage. And like I said, Ellie Hazelwood, her banter is top tier. and I highly recommend this one. I also think this is a very easy read if you don't want to like fully get into fantasy, but you kind of want to start getting into paranormal aspects. This is a very good entry point. I think it's very easy to read, very accessible. And yeah, I love this book. Like, I didn't expect to enjoy this book as much as I did, but I really, really did. So yes, highly recommend. There is also quite a few spicy scenes in this one, so keep that in mind. The next category is kind of just women's fiction, but honestly, it's really just Emily Henry books. Emily Henry, her writing mostly, but secondly, her romances. Her couples just always have so much chemistry, and they really like fit together or something like that. I don't know, that's how it feels when I'm reading it, at least. So yes, the first one I ever read was Beach Read. In this one, you follow January and Gus. They're both writers with writer's block, and so they're gonna try to write each other's genre. So it's kind of rivals to lovers. And I really, really love this one. Then book lovers, they're both like in the book field. So like, I think he's an editor and she's an agent. So they're both also in the book space. And they're kind of like rivals, and then they fall in love. So it's also kind of rivals to lovers, but in a different way. This one is also small town. This one is more like lake house. And we have People We Meet on Vacation, which just became a movie, of course, and I'm pretty sure these two are also becoming movies, but this one actually is, which I really love the movie. I think it was very good. They changed a few things from the book, but I do think it worked, and it was a great movie. Like an actual rom-com. Like, this book is a real rom-com, which I really love. And this one follow Alex and Poppy. It is really funny how they meet. This is friends to lovers, but he really didn't like her at first. They have nothing in common, but they still became friends, and so they were friends for a long time, and then they kind of got into a fight. Yes, so for 2 years they don't really speak, and then they come back, they're like, we're gonna be friends again. Something maybe goes wrong, and maybe they turn into something more than friends. So yes, I honestly just recommend Emily Henry as an author in general, but these are the ones I've read where I enjoy the romance the most. There's also not really spice in these, maybe like a scene here and there, but it's not really in detail talked about or anything. So like, it happens, but it doesn't happen like on page. So the next category we're going to be talking about is fantasy. So fantasy books with my favorite romances in them. So the first one I'm going to be talking about is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, and then like low-key all of the characters, but specifically Kaz and Ines, their romance is my favorite, I think, because they are like such gentle and careful love. Like, they're not even together. Honestly, I think they maybe brush hands once, but they're really acts of service. Like, they're so acts of service. Like, the things they do for each other without even the other knowing is insane, and I love them so much. This one is a little different because the romance is not the forefront. I mean, the moments that you do have is amazing. So yeah, Kaz and Ines are my favorite romance, but there's also Jasper and Wylan, and Mina and Matthias. I also love their romances, but Kaz and Ines is my favorite because it's so like in the backbone, but it's still so impactful, which is my favorite thing about their romance. This is also young adult, so there's no spice whatsoever. Like I said, they maybe brush hands once. This book is so good. The second book as well, it's so amazing, so good. So highly recommend anyway, but also because of the romance. The next one, I just have to talk about, like, if I'm talking about romance, I have to talk about Rhys and Favor. Like, come on now. Rhysand and Favor are literally the blueprint for romance and fantasy to me. Like, they are basic. Are they still amazing? Absolutely. Like, I love them to death. They're one of my favorite book couples ever. So of course I have to talk about them. And this book is peak romance. Like, this is a romantasy. The fantasy and the romance are like kind of equal in this one, whereas in Six of Crows the fantasy is really first and second is the romance. These are kind of equal in this one. I am not going to explain ACOTAR to you. This is the second book as well. Their romance is amazing, also very acts of service, and I loved it so much. They balance each other out so well. They just work so well together, and I love them to death. So I recommend this book. It is a long one. It's a long series in general. The first 3 books are favorite and recent. The 4th one is a Christmas novella where you have multiple POVs, and then the 5th one is Nesta and Cassian, and the next one is being written. So it's still to this date my favorite in the series, and that is a big part because of the romance. So yes, highly recommend. I love them to death. I'm not going to be yapping more about this because I already have so much, and this is very popular. So the last book in the fantasy category has to be Fourth Wing. This entire series, Xaden and Violet, I love them so much. I love their romance. I love their relationship. So of course I have to talk about them. I had to at least mention them. But again, this one is also very popular, so I will not be talking about it for long. But yes, also acts of service. Maybe I have a thing for acts of service romances, I'm noticing. Like even before they were together, the things that Xaden did for her is just, it makes my heart ache. It's so beautiful, and this is such a complex romance because there's so much going on besides the romance. Like they still manage to find time for each other. This romance to me is really a feeling. Like I can't really explain it well, but I feel it so deeply, and I love it. I love them so much. So highly recommend to just read this, but maybe you already have. Like this is so popular, so we're moving on. So the next category is kind of unconventional romances. Like they shouldn't be good romances, but to me they were. Or just they're like more complex, they're like toxic, whatever, but I love them, so I want to talk about them in this video. The first one is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I can't really talk to you about this one, but there's one romance in this one that I love, and if you have read it, you know it. I don't want to say it because I didn't know this going in, so I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. But yes, there's a certain redhead in this one with Evelyn that I really adored, and I loved their romance. It was so like, it was painful, but it was raw and it was real, and I loved it. I loved it so much, and I highly recommend this book if you haven't already. My favorite standalone ever. The writing is so good, the story is so good. I loved it, the plot twist, I loved it. But I can't really talk about this romance too much because it could be a spoiler, so I don't want to say too much. So we're gonna be moving on, but just know that I love this romance, I love this book, I love these characters. Some of them, not all of them, but my Sheilas. Next romance I'm going to be talking about, is it really a romance? It's complicated. It's complicated and they don't communicate. But do I love them still? Yes. Absolutely. It's Normal People by Sally Rooney, of course. I love this book so much. But this is miscommunication throughout the whole book. So if you really, really don't like that, stray away from this book. It is miscommunication, but the love, the relationship these people have in each other, the understanding they have, the love they have for each other, I felt it while I was reading it. The love they have for each other. So I wanted to talk about it, even though is it really a romance? It's not a typical romance, at least, but I still love them so much. So you follow Connell and Marianne, and they go to the same school, but he's kind of popular, and she's just a loner, and he's kind of popular. But he doesn't really fit in with the popular people, and Connell's mom is the maid for Marianne's household, so they kind of do see each other occasionally, so they talk, and they kind of start realizing that they like talking to each other. And Connell is like, wait, this girl understands me more than my friends do. It's kind of just a story about mutual fascination and them getting to know each other. They're not really in a relationship ever. They just really understand each other, and so they're kind of both fascinated by each other and how well they get along, how easy it is to talk to each other because you know the other understands you. And I think that's the most beautiful thing about their relationship, even though it's not really a relationship. Do highly recommend. The last book we're going to be talking about in this video today, of course, Magnolia Parks. Come on now. If you know anything about me, you know that I love this series to death. I only just finished the 3rd book out of 5 out so far, and I think if I read the 4th one, I would have put this in this video already, but I haven't read it yet, so I I haven't. But honestly, this entire series. But this is also not a typical romance. These two are, first of all, they have already been together, like, before the setting of this book. And it's toxic. They're so toxic. They're Magnolia and BJ, and then in the other books, like in the first book you follow Magnolia and BJ, and the second book you follow Daisy and Christian. But Magnolia and BJ are very toxic, honestly. Not good for each other, probably. If you've seen Gossip Girl, this is basically Gossip Girl set in London, and Magnolia and BJ are kind of like Blair and Chuck. That's the best way I could explain it to you. No one and no romance has ever made me feel like this book. This romance is, like, I felt it while reading it, and they were in pain, I was in pain, and I don't want to talk about this book too much because I already talk about it so much, but this is just a romance that I really feel. Even though it's toxic, I feel the love they have for each other. Like, they love each other more than themselves, which is not a good thing, but I feel it when I'm reading it. Like, my favorite part about this romance is that I feel it, and I care for both of them so much, even though I don't really like them as people, but I feel for them so much, and I love their romance. Like, I feel their romance. That's the only way I can describe it. It's a feeling, and I really love that. I enjoy that. It is painful also, but yes. Highly recommend this if you think you can do it, but keep in mind it is toxic. This series is not going to be for everyone, so it's okay if it isn't for you. I do want to say it because they have some of my favorite romances ever. Like, the quotes, the love, the feel. I love them. But yes, I didn't say Magnolia Parks has some spicy scenes, but it's not really on page. Normal People I think has a few scenes as well, but it's not about the spice. It's really about what it means to them. And then Fourth Wing is spicy and does have spices. I think I forgot to say that, but yes. So those were all the books I wanted to talk about for this video, the books with my favorite romances in them. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.